Hi everybody, it's Thomas here from Thomas Fitzgerald Photography, and this is this month's Patreon exclusive editing video. So for this video I wanted to do something a little different. I have been trying out the beta version of Luminar 2018, which has just gone on pre-order and is going to be available soon, in about 2 weeks I think. So what I wanted to do for this month's editing video is look at editing a file from start to finish in Luminar 2018, and I'm actually going to do quite a bit of work on it. So the file that I have is an image I shot last year when I was away in Germany, and I was in this little town called Darmstadt. Actually it's not a town, it's a city. I don't think anyone in Germany would appreciate me calling it a town. And there was this beautiful forest at the edge of the city, and I went for a walk in there a few days, and one of the times I brought my Fuji camera with me and I set everything up on a tripod and everything, and there was a few different shots that I really liked, but I wasn't 100% happy with how they came out. It's one of those things that, you know, I'm sure you've experienced yourself, where you're shooting and what you're seeing on the day and then what you get back, it just doesn't quite line up, so you often find yourself sometimes I can get frustrated when I can't make it look how I see it in my head. So I've actually processed this a few different times in different applications, and I wanted to kind of go back to it and try it again in the new version of Luminar, just to see what I can do with it, and also just to kind of see what the quality of the conversions and stuff is like. So this image I've actually already pre-converted using a Radiant X transformer, and part of the reason I did that was, well, I had already done it previously to edit this in Lightroom, so I'm using that file, but also I wanted to kind of just to see how far I can push that within Luminar as well. So I've opened the file up already. I'm just going to be working on this file today, and I'm going to take my time and go through it, so this may end up being a long video as usual, and I hope you will stick with it and you find this useful. Even if you don't use Luminar, or you don't intend to use Luminar, you might find this just interesting, just from my general thoughts, and I will try and talk as much as possible without it being totally uninteresting. So to start with, I've opened up the file and I've used kind of some of my defaults on this already. Now this is just the file as is. So one of the first things I do is I'm going to use a LUT, and I have a video on YouTube, my YouTube channel, about this. So I'm using Velvia on this, so I'm just going to turn this back on. I've already set this up. So I'm going to turn that back on, and see straight away we've kind of oomphed that up a bit. So I'm going to use the base layer in this just for the kind of raw conversion, and I've tweaked the shadows to bring the shadows up a bit because it's a little dark. So like I said, I'm going to use this first layer as kind of the raw stage, and then I'll do all my kind of creative adjustments on top of that. So I've already set sharpening and stuff here, and it's actually brought it up quite nicely, so it's looking reasonably well. Okay, so I'm going to add a new layer, so add new adjustment layer, and I'm going to start by, I'm going to try and see what happens with the AI filter. So let me just add that, and I'm going to turn the boost up. So the AI filter in Luminar is kind of it's like a magic artificial intelligence filter. It examines your image and kind of boosts some areas and lowers others. It actually works really well, as you can see. So if I zoom in here, this might be getting a bit noisy. Oh, it's not too bad. I had some kind of manual lens corrections going on this as well for aberration. I've already set all that up because I didn't want to bore you with it. But yeah, no, I was just checking there to make sure everything was going okay. So let me see, what else can we do? I'm going to add a polarizer. So if you haven't used Luminar before, the way it works is you kind of keep adding filters. Now if anyone was used to using Aperture, this is kind of like adding adjustment bricks in Aperture, except you can now use them in layers and you can move them up and down and so on. You can rearrange the order. Let's add some clarity as well. Now, one thing to bear in mind here as well is I'm still using, this is a beta version of 2018, so if you see kind of unusual behavior in that, please bear that in mind. This new filter, Brilliance Warmth, I actually really like. See, it does things like that. it's like vibrance on steroids. Okay, I gotta make it a bit warmer as well. Actually, this probably won't take as long as I was expecting it to take. Okay, so I'm going to add the Orton effect. I kind of like this because it kind of softens everything off and kind of blends it all together. But it's one of those things that you can overdo quite easily. So that's already looking pretty good, and I can see before, after. So as you can see, that's a dramatic difference. The greens are probably getting a bit too strong here, so I can add, what'll I add? I can turn them back down a bit. There's a couple of different ways I can do this. There is there's a foliage enhancement filter. They've moved everything in this, so that's why it's kind of taking me a little while to find things. Let me just try with the HSL first. So I can just bring the saturation to greens back down a little bit, because it's getting a little oversaturated. It's quite nice though. One of the things might be nice as well is a bit of vignette. Let me see if you can find where that's gone. Yes, they moved everything. Seriously, they've really moved everything. It's kind of hard to find anything now. It's a matter of getting used to, of course. And I like a squarish vignette. I don't, again, I always try not to go too much. I've probably said that a lot in most of my videos. So again, before and after. I think that's pretty cool. Now, we'll have this our kind of image enhancement layer. And then I'm going to add another new layer. And on this one, I am going to show you the cool new sun rays filter, which is a little gimmicky, but in this image it's actually going to work really well. Because you can see we have the sunlight kind of coming from back here. You can see it in all the directions, but there's no sun in the shot. So I'm going to add one. And it's actually very realistic. It's not at all fake looking. I mean, if you turn the values up and depending on what way you position it, you can get it looking a bit too fakey. But that's pretty cool. I really like that. Again, oh, I need to do that. You can turn that on and off. It works best if you put it in a position where the sun should be or already is, or if you have sun rays in your image already. It kind of works best that way. And see, what else can I do? There's not really a lot more I need to do to this. And we can go back to, I'm going to go back to this previous layer and just see. So one of the things the sun ray does do is it actually kind of, like a normal flare would, it will actually brighten your blacks and stuff. So just kind of to watch that. So I'm just going to just see if I add a bit of detail to this as well. This can get out of hand quickly, so you kind of have to be careful. Medium details, small details, large details. Protect the highlights, and that's quite nice. I just need to check that this isn't making this really noisy, as that can have a tendency to happen. That's pretty good. Oh, that actually looks fun. Okay, and then if I go back to my sun rays layer. See, now, as I said, this does actually brighten it a bit much. You're kind of losing. So I can turn that down. This is one of the advantages of the layer system in this. And you're kind of losing it a bit then. So I don't know if that's worth the effort or not. See, I like the green. I really like the green, the rich greens there, but if I turn that on, well, no, it kind of works. Let me just see if I add a curves on top of this. If I can find it. Okay, and I'm just going to do this. There, that's better. That kind of compensates for it a bit. Other things you can do too is you can rename layers, so that's kind of handy. Sunrays, and we call it creative. That's just for my own purposes. Okay, that's kind of cool. So I'm going to add one more layer, and I'm going to add a few kind of glows and stuff just to kind of blend everything together. So let me see, what have we got? I'll try a very soft glow, and again we'll keep all these fairly low. And I want radiance. Again, you can quickly overdo these, so. And I'm going to add some grain at the very end, just to kind of tie everything together as well. And maybe another little bit of the Orton effect. Again, you have to be very careful. So that's pretty nice. Let me just see. Again, I just zoom in every now and again just to check it out one-to-one to make sure all the filters and everything I'm putting on this is not overly it's not overly adding noise, because when you process images a lot you can add noise, but Luminar seems pretty good at keeping that in check. As far as I know, they use floating point calculations internally, so again kind of similar to what Aperture used to do, and that seems to stop it from adding a lot of issues. So I'm just going to add a little bit of grain. So one of the things I find when processing images is grain is actually a great tool for making stuff look more natural. And this kind of sounds like an odd thing to say, but there are times when it can actually you can use it to cover things like noise and stuff, because sometimes image noise looks a bit more digitally and fake, whereas if you blur it out or use noise reduction, and then that also looks fake. But when you add a bit of grain back to it, it can cover it and make it look much more natural looking. Now, I've noticed something strange there. There seems to be some pixelation going on the sun rays filter, and I say that's probably a beta issue. Again, like I said, this is still beta. So I may just turn that off. I need to see if that actually renders that out like that. So if I turn the sun rays off, I really do like them though. I can do it both ways. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm more or less happy with this. This is looking pretty good. So let me just save this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it. And yes, this will do. I'll just call this Darmstadt first. Hit save. So what I'm doing is saving it in its own Luminar format, and then what I need to do is export it out as an image. So there's a couple ways of doing this. You can do it from here, or you can do it from here, or you can choose to do something like open it in Photoshop. And just for the sake of things, let me do that. One of the interesting things too there is you can also send it to Apple Photos directly from here, which is kind of useful. Okay, so I've opened it up in Photoshop here, and it's looking pretty good. The reason I wanted to open this in Photoshop was I just wanted to check, because you see kind of we've got purple fringing kind of going on here at the edges. You can actually get rid of that in Photoshop easier than you can in Luminar. It's actually quite a difficult thing to get rid of. It's not chromatic aberration as such, it's actually sheety lens syndrome. It's funny, I'm using the Fuji 18-55 on this, and you've seen a lot of people were saying that this is a great lens. That has not been my experience with it. It's an okay lens, but it does seem to have a lot of issues, and I find it soft sometimes, and also you can get some kind of, in extreme highlight situations like this, you can get issues with it. But anyway, the quickest way to fix this is actually to use the camera raw filter. So what I'm going to do is, because this is just at the edges, I'm going to do this on a new layer, and then I'm just going to paint it back over it. Okay, so I'm here in camera raw. I'm just going to zoom into 100%. And I want to go up here to the corner, and let me just see if I can get rid of this. It's not a huge deal if I can't, but we should be able to. So I need to go over to the lens corrections panel, and we bring that up. You have to be careful here because you can actually, it's hard to know which of these is which. Oh, there we go. That's pretty much got rid of it. The problem with this is it'll kill any, it can kill some colors in the image, so you kind of have to be careful. That's why I'm just going to paint it back on. I just want to check something. Yeah, so the sun rays rendered out okay. It was just a display issue, so that's fine. See, there's a bit of red fringing there I can get rid of as well. If I turn this up, I should get rid of it. I might need to turn this up further. So the higher you turn this up, it doesn't get rid of everything, but it can also, you can end up desaturating the image a bit, so you just have to be careful. So that's kind of why I did this on a separate layer. Like for example, you see that's killing that. I need to bring this back to about there. Okay, so I'm just going to paint it on there. So let me just click OK. Okay, you can see that's fixed it over here, but it's doing weird stuff to the leaves. Actually, it's not too bad. Maybe you can just leave it. Yeah, that's actually okay. So I'm just going to flatten this. Image. So there we have it. And let me just save it. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what happens when you do that. Does it go back to Luminar? I don't think so. However, you can do this. I can actually bring this back in on top of this. So I can go add new image layer. Of course I need to find it first. I don't know where that went. Save as. I'm just going to save it to the desktop so I can find it. Yeah, that's an issue. Desktop. Please forgive my extremely messy computer. So this should add this on the top of the stack as a new image. And if I look, oh, still adding it. Okay. And let it render. And there we have it, but all our problems solved. So again, if I turn that off, you can see the original. That just kind of keeps everything together, so I can just save that again now and it'll save it. It would be nice if they made that as an edit in Photoshop function of the software so that it would automatically bring it back in. But yeah, so just seeing if there's a color difference there, but it doesn't look like it. So there you have it. The last thing I could do was save this out, export it for the web and so on, or I could just do that from Photoshop. So to do that I can go, actually what I will do, because I haven't tried this yet, is I'm going to send this to Flickr. I actually haven't tried this feature yet, so See to your pants stuff. This is how I test things normally, by the way. I just kind of play around and go down the rabbit hole, as it were. See where things send you. The one thing I have found about this, it can be a little slow at times. Having said that, it's using all the CPUs, because on my second screen I have the activity monitor open, and I could see that it was using all 12 cores. So actually you can probably see it in the dock. Okay, I have no idea what this does or if this works. I'm not sure if I have a flicker count set up. This must use the system-wide option. So this could be an issue. Oh, then again. Yeah, that is mine. So we'll call this Darmstadt. That's not, I have not spelled Darmstadt wrong, right? Sorry, anyone from Darmstadt. Fuji, that'll do. I can fix it later. So I'll say publish. I really like that sunrise filter. You know that's going to get totally overused, but still. Okay. Okay, that's pretty much it. I should really check to see if that actually went to Twitter or Flickr. We'll just give it a second. It looks pretty good to me. It's a little soft. Oh, the reason for that is I have my monitor scaled down just so that the interface is a bit bigger, because people were giving out to me on YouTube for not having it scaled down. I have normally a 27-inch monitor, so if I don't have it as the right resolution, people get annoyed. And so I have decided to lower the resolution for future videos, just so that things look a bit easier. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you found this useful. It wasn't too rambling, and I think it's turned out to be a really nice image. If I go back to Luminar for a second, and again just do the before and after, so that's how we started, that's how we ended up, and I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, so there we have it. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope you found this useful, and thank you for supporting me on Patreon, and stay tuned for more videos. Next month, if you have any ideas of what you would like to see in these editing videos, please let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, thanks for watching.